I'm 26, and I used to think I just had bad luck with guys. Like it wasn't my fault that every guy I dated turned out to be right? It was just coincidence. Or maybe all men are trash, and I was finally realizing it. Tyler was the one who really sealed it for me. We met at Sidebar, this bar downtown, on a Thursday night. Like, he was tall, like 6'2" worked in sales, had that cocky smile that should have been a red flag but wasn't. We flirted for 2 hours. He bought my drinks. We ended up at his place, this high rise apartment that was way too nice for someone who claimed he was just figuring life out. His living room had a massive TV and a PS5 setup. Barely any furniture otherwise. Total bachelor pad energy. We hooked up. I stayed the night. In the morning, he was already different, checking his phone while making coffee, mentioning he had a busy weekend ahead. I left thinking it was just awkwardness that he'd text me later. He never did. It wasn't the first time. Before Tyler, there was Jake. Met him at a wedding. Same story. One night, then nothing. Before Jake was Chris, this gym guy who led me on for 3 weeks before disappearing. Each time I'd tell myself, maybe this one will be different. But it never was. I'd get the chemistry, the excitement, the intensity, then silence. After Tyler ghosted me, I decided I was done with men. Like, actually done. I started dating women instead. Maya was first. We met at a mutual friend's art gallery opening. She was cute, artsy, seemed emotionally available, everything guys weren't. But within 2 weeks, she was blowing up my phone anytime I went out without her. I'd post an Instagram story at happy hour with coworkers and get 15 texts. Who are you with? Why didn't you invite me? Do you even want to be with me? I convinced myself this was just her being passionate. After Maya, I dated Vanessa for 2 months. She was the opposite. Cold, distant, always playing mind games. She'd say, I'm fine, when she clearly wasn't, then make me spend 3 hours trying to figure out what was wrong. Every disagreement turned into an emotional processing marathon where I had to validate her feelings while mine got dismissed. But I told myself this was women being more emotionally intelligent than men. At least they felt things, you know. I met Jess at Brew City, our usual coffee spot near my apartment, the week after Vanessa and I broke up. Jess is 27, works in nonprofit, perpetually single, and vocally anti-men. I vented about Vanessa, how exhausting it had been, how I felt like I was always walking on eggshells. See, this is why women are just better, Jess said, stirring her latte. Men can't even communicate. At least with women, you know they care. I nodded along, but internally I was exhausted. Dating women had been just as draining as dating men, just different problems. Still, I was committed to the narrative now. I'd built an identity around it. I posted a story later that night, a repost of some feminist meme about choosing yourself. Jess replied immediately with the fire emoji. 2 weeks after the Vanessa breakup, Jess convinced me to stop wallowing and go to Marcus's birthday party. I agreed, mostly because I was bored and my apartment felt suffocating. I didn't know it then, but that party was going to completely up everything I thought I knew about myself. Marcus's apartment was packed when I got there Saturday night. Maybe 20 people, mix of his co-workers from the graphic design firm, some college friends, a few randoms, hip-hop playlist bumping, drinks spread across the kitchen counter, cheap beer, a bottle of tequila, White Claws in a cooler. Marcus has been my friend since sophomore year of college. We had a marketing class together. He tried to ask me out once back then, but I was dating someone else and he never brought it up again. We just stayed friends. I showed up in a good mood, black top and jeans, ready to be social for the first time in weeks. I'd been sober since the Vanessa breakup, but tonight I was drinking. I ended up near the kitchen with a group. Marcus, a couple of his coworkers, including this guy Daniel, who I barely registered. Conversation turned to dating. Someone mentioned a bad breakup. I was 3 White Claws deep when I jumped in. Honestly, men are just, I don't know, emotionally stunted. Like, I tried dating women for a while and at least they could communicate, you know? Marcus, leaning against the counter with a beer, raised an eyebrow. Wait, didn't you just break up with a girl who made you cry every other week? I laughed it off. That's different. At least she felt things. Men just don't even care. Marcus set his beer down. Something in my tone must have pushed him over the edge because his whole energy shifted. Riley, you know I love you, but you need to hear this. Everyone's attention turned toward us. You only date the hottest guys in the room. Guys who are obviously not looking for anything serious, and then when they don't commit, you blame all men. That's not a men problem. That's a you problem. My face flushed. That's not it is. He interrupted, not yelling but firm. Tyler, Jake, Chris, come on. You knew what they were. You just thought you'd be the one to change them. And when that didn't work, you convinced yourself men were the problem and dated women instead. But guess what? That didn't work either because the problem isn't the gender. It's your picker. I felt everyone's eyes on me. My throat tightened. So what? You're saying I should lower my standards? Date some guy who doesn't even excite me just to prove a point? Marcus shook his head. I'm saying you've never even tried dating a regular guy. You go for extremes, the players or the drama. You've never given a normal, decent dude a real shot. He leaned forward. Here's the deal. Date a regular guy for 1 month. Treat it like an actual relationship. Give him a real chance, not just one date where you decide he's boring. If after a month you still think men are the problem, I'll never bring this up again. I'll even validate all your rants. I wanted to say no, but everyone was watching. Saying no would prove his point that I wasn't actually willing to try. Fine, 1 month. But when this crashes and burns, you owe me an apology in front of everyone here. Marcus grinned. Deal. He looked across the kitchen at Daniel, who'd been quietly watching the whole thing. Daniel, you single? Daniel looked surprised. Yeah. Riley needs someone to prove men are trash. You free next weekend? Daniel glanced at me, then back at Marcus, clearly realizing he'd been volunteered. He smirked slightly. Sure, I'll be the boring guy benchmark. I looked at Daniel for the first time that night. Really looked. He was maybe 5'10" in, brown hair, average build. Wearing a plain hoodie and jeans. Not ugly, but not the type I'd normally notice. I felt this sinking feeling, but pushed it down. This will be easy. 1 month of boring dates and I'll be vindicated. Fine, I said louder than necessary. 1 month starting next week. Marcus gave Daniel my number the next day. Daniel texted me Wednesday afternoon. Hey Riley, Marcus gave me your number. I'm Daniel from the party. Want to grab dinner this weekend? No pressure. I stared at the text for 20 minutes, almost ignored it, but I remembered the public challenge. Sure, Saturday works. We met at Lucia's, this casual Italian place downtown. Red checkered tablecloths, Chianti bottles as decor, smelled like garlic bread. I showed up in a simple dress, telling myself I was just going through the motions. Daniel was already there in a button-down and jeans. He stood when I approached, an old-fashioned gesture that caught me off guard. He asked about my work, marketing for a skincare brand. He asked follow-ups. Did I like it? What was the most annoying part? How'd I get into it? I was surprised he actually listened, not just waiting for his turn to talk. He mentioned working in IT with Marcus doing cybersecurity stuff. Sounded boring, but he explained it without being condescending. When the food came, pasta primavera for me, chicken palm for him. We talked about travel, worst jobs, our families. I was bored, not in a bad way, but there was no spark. With Tyler, I felt electricity. This felt neutral, safe. I caught myself thinking, this is exactly what Marcus wanted. Settle for boring. But then Daniel mentioned planning a trip to Japan next year, and his whole face lit up, talking about the food he wanted to try. It was the first time I saw actual enthusiasm from him. Weirdly endearing. He walked me to my car, didn't try to kiss me. I had a really good time. Let me know if you want to do this again. He texted the next morning, thanks for coming out last night. I know this was kind of a weird setup, but I'm glad we met. Want to do something fun next week? My treat? I stared at it. Used to guys either love bombing me or playing it so cool they ghost. This was just normal. I didn't know how to feel. Sure. What did you have in mind? Mini golf? Mini golf? Are we 16? But I agreed. Date 2, Tuesday evening. Putt-putt paradise near the waterfront. Glow-in-the-dark pirate-themed course. I showed up expecting to hate it. Neon colors, fake treasure chests, a windmill on hole 7. But Daniel was playfully competitive without being obnoxious. When I got a hole-in-one on the pirate ship, he dramatically clutched his chest like I'd wounded him. I laughed, genuinely laughed. The neon pink lights reflected on my face when I smiled, and Daniel just looked at me for a second before making a dumb joke about my professional mini-golf career. I rolled my eyes but kept smiling. We got soft pretzels after. and sat on a bench by the water. Talked about embarrassing childhood memories. I mentioned calling my teacher mom in 4th grade. He talked about pissing his pants during a school assembly in 3rd grade. It was stupid and easy. When he dropped me at my car, he paid for everything without making it weird. This was fun. You're fun. Not you're so hot or you're so cool, just you're fun. The simplicity hit me. Friday, end of week 1. Daniel invited me over for movie night. I immediately went on guard. Here it comes. The nice guy act drops. I texted Jess, going to his place tonight. If this goes south, I'm calling you. Daniel's apartment was a 3rd floor or walk up. 1 bedroom, decent area. Living room was clean. Actually lived in clean. Couch, TV, some books on a shelf. No red flags. He'd already made dinner. Pasta with marinara, garlic bread, salad. Nothing fancy. Hope you're not allergic to anything. I picked a thriller I'd been wanting to see. We ate on the couch, plates on our laps. Halfway through, I realized he wasn't trying anything. His arm wasn't creeping around me. He wasn't inching closer, just watching the movie. When it ended, almost 11 p.m., Daniel stretched. I can call you an Uber if you want, or you're welcome to stay, and I'll take the couch. No pressure either way. I'd been waiting all night for the pressure. The you should stay, the wandering hands, the disappointed sigh when I left. But he was just walking me to my car, like it was normal, like me leaving didn't mean anything about him. I didn't know what to do with that. I'll just head home, I said, more confused than anything. As I left, Daniel walked me to the parking lot. Thanks for coming over. I know this whole thing started as a bet or whatever, but I'm having a good time getting to know you. I just nodded and drove home. That night, I lay in bed staring at my ceiling, annoyed at myself for being surprised that a guy treated me with basic decency. Tyler couldn't wait until morning to get distant. Maya would have made movie night about her somehow. Daniel just existed with me. No drama, no games. I texted Marcus. Okay, he's not terrible, but this doesn't prove anything yet. Over the next 2 weeks, I saw Daniel regularly. Sometimes planned dates, sometimes casual hangouts, coffee on Wednesday mornings before work. He remembered I liked oat milk lattes, bookstore on Saturday, where he bought me a thriller. I mentioned we cooked dinner at my place one night. He brought groceries, didn't complain when I was particular about chopping onions. He got weirdly passionate about the correct way to cook rice. Not snobby, just genuinely cared. Explained the water ratio, the resting time, used his hands to demonstrate. I found it endearing. He wasn't trying to impress me. He just really liked rice. The consistency started getting to me. He texted good morning most days, not every day, which made it feel more genuine. Asked how my day was, and actually listened. When my car made a weird noise, he offered to look at it. When I stressed about a work presentation, he didn't try to fix it, just said, "That sounds frustrating," and asked if I wanted to vent or be distracted. Week 2, I met Jess for brunch at Sunnyside Up. She was already scrolling through her phone when I sat down. I ordered a mimosa. So, how's the bet going? I hesitated. He's fine. She looked up. Fine, that's it. He's nice. Normal, listens, plans dates, doesn't play games. Her eyes narrowed. What's the catch? I don't know. Haven't found one yet. Jess leaned back, crossing her arms. Riley, come on. He's playing the long game. Being nice so you'll sleep with him, then he'll ghost like all the others. Don't fall for it. I felt defensive. I'm not falling for anything. Just keeping up my end. Just be careful. Men are all the same, even the nice ones. I nodded, but internally I was annoyed. Jess had been single for 2 years. Hadn't even tried dating. Just sat on the sidelines criticizing everyone else. End of week 2, Thursday. I woke up feeling like death. Sore throat, headache, congested. Texted Daniel canceling our weekend date. I'm sick. Probably just a cold, but don't want to get you sick. Rain check. No worries. Feel better. Let me know if you need anything. I spent the day in bed scrolling my phone. Around 6 p.m., my doorbell rang. I dragged myself to the door in pajama pants and an old hoodie, hair in a messy bun. Daniel stood there holding a plastic bag. Hey, sorry to just show up. I brought soup. He held up the bag. Vietnamese place near here. Makes really good. Pho? Figured it might help. I stared. You brought me soup? Yeah. Marcus mentioned you love pho, so he handed me the bag. Not gonna stay because you know germs. Text me if you need anything else. He left before I could process it. I went inside, set the soup on my counter. Just stood there. Maya would have been pissed I was ignoring her even though I was sick. Vanessa would have made me comfort her about how worried she was. My feminist friends talk constantly about emotional labor and showing up, but never actually do it. Daniel just showed up. No fanfare, no expectation, no making it about him. I ate the FO and cried a little. Told myself it was because I was sick. Week 3, Sunday, Riverside Park. We walked trails along the water talking about nothing important. Then Danielle said something that stopped me cold. You know, I was thinking about what you said on our first date about how you feel like you're always performing for people. I didn't remember saying that. I said that. Yeah. Talking about your job, how exhausting it is to always be on for clients. You said sometimes you don't know who you are when you're not trying to impress someone. My throat tightened. I did say that, barely a full thought, and he remembered. I just wanted to say I feel like you've been more yourself lately. Like you're not trying as hard. It's nice. What does that even mean? I said too defensively. I'm always myself. I just mean you seem more relaxed, like you're not trying to prove anything. I wanted to argue but couldn't because he was right. I stopped walking, stared at the water. He'd been present in every single conversation. Not just listening to respond, actually listening, remembering details, paying attention. No one had ever done that before. You good? Daniel asked. I nodded quickly. Yeah, just thinking. But I was panicking inside because if Daniel was this solid, this genuine, what did that say about me? My choices, my entire ideology. That night, I scrolled through Instagram. All my old posts, feminist memes, men are trash, quotes, stories about women being better partners. My friends validated every word. Sitting there, I felt like a fraud. Tyler, Jake, Chris, I chose them. Knew they weren't serious. Thought I'd be different. When that failed, I blamed men instead of my judgment. Maya, Vanessa, the jealousy, the mind games, the exhaustion. But I told myself it was still better because at least women felt things. What a lie. And now Daniel, kind without expecting anything, remembered small things, treated me like a priority without smothering me, boring in the best way, stable, reliable, present. My phone buzzed. Jess, want to come to a rally next Saturday? Women's rights thing downtown. 2 months ago, I would have said yes immediately. Now I just felt tired. I didn't respond. I opened my thread with Daniel instead. His last message. Hope you had a good day. Talk tomorrow. I typed, yeah. Can we talk soon in person? He responded within a minute. Of course. Want to meet for coffee tomorrow after work? Yes. I didn't sleep much that night. Monday after work, North End Cafe. I got there early, already halfway through my drink when Daniel walked in. He ordered black coffee. Sat across from me. So, what's up? I fidgeted with my cup. I've been thinking about this whole thing, the bet, the month, and you've kind of upped my entire worldview. He raised an eyebrow, almost smiling. How so? I spent the last year convincing myself men were the problem. Emotionally unavailable, selfish, incapable of basic decency. Then you showed up, and you're none of those things. Now I don't know what to do with that. Daniel was quiet. Can I ask you something? Yeah. Why did you think men were the problem? I laughed bitterly. Because every guy I dated was in a... They'd hook up and disappear over and over, but were they? Or did you pick? My face burned. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm genuinely asking. Tyler, Jake, Chris, they were all the same type. Hot, confident, clearly not looking for relationships, and you went for them anyway. My throat tightened. I thought I could change them, but that's not on them. That's on you. So you're saying I deserve to get ghosted? That it's my fault? I'm not saying you deserved it. I'm saying you saw the signs and ignored them because you wanted it to be different. That's not the same thing. But I tried. You tried to change them. You didn't try dating someone who didn't need changing. I looked down. He was right. I knew he was right. I don't know who I am if I'm not the girl who hates men, I said quietly. Daniel leaned forward slightly. Then maybe it's time to figure that out. I showed up at Marcus's apartment Thursday night unannounced. He opened the door in sweatpants and a t-shirt. Riley, you good? Can I come in? We sat. Me on the couch, him in the old recliner. TV paused on a basketball game. Okay, so maybe Daniel's not the worst, I said. But that doesn't mean you were right about everything. Marcus raised an eyebrow. You like him. I mean, he's fine. He's nice, but it's only been a month. For all I know, he's just playing a really long game. Riley, what? It happens. Guys act perfect for weeks, and then boom, they're curse someone else or they ghost or whatever. Marcus shook his head. Not every guy is Tyler. Yeah, well, most of them are. I crossed my arms. I'm just saying one decent guy doesn't erase like all of male behavior throughout history. You're really going to die on this hill? I'm not dying on anything. I'm just being realistic. I paused. But like hypothetically, if I kept seeing him, you think he'd actually stick around? Marcus grinned. Yeah, I do. We'll see. Saturday, I texted Daniel. Like, can we meet? Riverside Park again. Evening. Sun setting. Sorry for being weird at the coffee shop, I said. You weren't weird. I was a little weird. I kicked at a rock on the path. Look, I've been thinking. You're different from what I'm used to, and I don't really know what to do with that. Daniel waited. Like, part of me keeps waiting for the other shoe to drop, for you to turn out to be just like the rest of them. But so far you haven't. So I trailed off. So I want to keep seeing you, even though I'm like 90% sure there's some catch I haven't figured out yet. Daniel laughed. There's no catch, Riley. That's exactly what someone with a catch would say. You're impossible. Yeah, I've been told. I looked at him, but you're still here. So I'm still here. I pulled out my phone, texted Jess, needs space. Talk later, didn't wait for a response. Put my phone away. We kept walking, sunset stretching out ahead. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say I had some big revelation about men or whatever. I still think most of them are trash. I still think the dating world is. And I'm still pretty sure Daniel's going to disappoint me eventually, because that's just what people do. But for now, he hasn't. And I guess that's worth something. I didn't post about it, didn't tell Jess the details, just kept seeing him and waiting for the inevitable moment when he'd prove me right about men. Except that moment hasn't come yet. And maybe I'm okay with being wrong about this one thing just this once, but I'm still keeping my guard up just in case. If this confession kept you hooked, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. We share powerful true stories every day that explore the complex realities of life.